Welcome back, all my beautiful, loyal patriots and nationalists alike from Ireland and abroad. Today we have another video from Gripped Media, beautiful video from Gripped Media. Shout out to Gripped Media, the only alternative media source in Ireland, apart from me, of course. Okay, we have Declan Ganley, who is like a CEO of this big company, blaming the green policies for the power chaos. Okay, quoting in the video, I hope EOWYN Ryan is happy. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the Green Party policies are insane. I don't even know who the hell voted for those people. Like, I don't know how they ever got into power, but this one should be amazing. Like, comment, subscribe, drop a comment down below. We're going to talk about, was the storm fatal like I described it? Should you have been outside your house? The whole plethora of things that I said in my last video about news talk, scaremongering the people of Ireland, which I absolutely stand behind. Let's keep going, guys.
When you play student politics and you introduce policy like you're a 13-year-old moron, the downstream consequences of that are people are cold and without hot water and without power. And I hope EOWYN Ryan is happy up in his house in Dublin, because I bet he has power and I bet he has hot water and I bet he is able to take a shower,
100%.
Unlike the people in rural Ireland who had to build houses to his standards and that government's standards, who now have no hot water, can't boil a kettle and can't heat their houses because the requirements and the regulations that they imposed even on rural Ireland do not fit with rural Ireland. Stopping people from cutting turf on their bogs, stopping people from being able to use solid and liquid fuels to heat their homes in rural Ireland does not work. That's for cloud cuckoo land. It's not for the west of Ireland.
Yeah, so the West was obviously really badly affected by that, you know, and Dublin wasn't. Okay, like I saw there was a lot of destruction in Galway, where I live. We've had no power, we've had no electricity, no signal, no nothing on our phones, you know, no water for flipping going on 4 or 5 days now. Insane. I actually came up to Dublin to kind of get away from it because I have to work, guys. I work from home. This is my livelihood here, so I have to do this, right? But unfortunately for the people stuck back there, my family being one of them, it's insane. People are going crazy, but the people in the Dole don't care. They'll still be taking showers, having fun, probably partying like they did, 4 or 5 years ago, partying through the chaos, like they did a few years ago. Anyways, that's another story for another day. But yeah, insane, guys. Insane policies. We still cut turf. We don't care. We have turf, wood. Thank God we have a stove, or else we would have just froze to death. It was colder inside the house than it was outside the house. God damn it. It was insane.
They're saying that we will not have power back until the 5th of February around here. They are saying that the water has been out. It was out yesterday. There's no water pressure, obviously, because the power's out. Now they're doing what they can to restore that. The area that's affected, and there's a lot of destruction. You can see behind me, where there are big trees, there's a lot of trees down, a lot of the structural damage. We got away relatively lightly here, but slates off the roof, holes in the roof, that kind of thing in various buildings. But you're in Abbeynock-Moy, County East Galway right now. About half of Tuam has got power. Tuam's about 8-9 miles from here.
It's crazy.
There's no mobile coverage, as you fellas have discovered coming in here. There's no. I have to drive 10 miles to get proper mobile coverage, and even that, it's not data intensive. You can't stream, you can't do video, anything like that. So you can't work if you're in the sort of tech related industry.
That's why I had to leave.
And then all the way from here to Mount Bellew, Myloch, Glenamaddy, over towards Athenry, Kilkerran, Clonberan. There's a huge area that is completely without power and without water. Now, for those of us that have open fires, wood burning stoves, turf and wood that's logged, we can stay warm, you can keep your house heated. For those that do not, for example, these new regulation homes that have been built that have got heat pumps and then have electrical power as the backup source of heating, they're cold. Those houses are cold right now. I had someone come to my place a couple of days ago, because their house, they've got no heat, nothing. Now,
it's so dangerous for old people. I'm 30 years old. I hit the gym every day. I'm super strong. My immune system's like crazy. But what happens if you're 70 years old, like my family, old as hell? What happens then? You can just get pneumonia and die, like very fast. Like, people don't understand the cold. It was so cold. It was like 2 degrees, 1 degree, the night of the storm, and then the next day was insanely cold. So crazy. And then the ESB said it's going to be up to 2 weeks before they get around to us. Like, insane. I tell you what, lads, the government are just doing nothing to support this. They should have brought out the army, the guards. They should have brought out people to actually help restore electricity, do something. What about old people, man? It's crazy.
People are driving into Galway because Galway city has power.
Yeah.
That's more than 20 miles from here. So people are going.
The lineup for McDonald's was insane. I was like, I haven't had a hot meal in 3 days. Let me go get McDonald's. The fucking line was an hour long. I was like, shh. I said, let me go to Subway. Nobody's eating Subway because Subway gives you cancer. But the line for any of these food places, like Galway, was packed. It was insane.
Going to find where there is power to warm themselves, to be able to get showers, etc. But nothing's working. And I hope Eamon Ryan is happy up in his house in Dublin, because I bet he has power, and I bet he has hot water, and I bet he is able to take a shower. Unlike the people in rural Ireland who had to build houses to his standards and that government's standards, who now have no hot water, can't boil a kettle, and can't heat their houses because the requirements and the regulations that they imposed, even on rural Ireland, do not fit with rural Ireland. Stopping people from cutting turf on their bogs, stopping people from being able to use solid...
That's like un-Irish. That's like against the Irish constitution. Imagine telling an Irishman, yeah? Imagine telling my granddad, who's laid up... My granddad's buried, and my grandma, right beside... I've never got to meet them. They died before I was born. They're buried right there beside the bog. Right there beside the bog down, and they're down in Tuam, next to Tuam. Like, could you imagine telling them you're not allowed to cut turf on your own land? They'd be rolling over in their grave as we're speaking like this. They're rolling over in their grave. That's un-Irish. That's unconstitutionally un-Irish. Like, you see these politicians don't wear Irish stamps. They don't do anything that's Irish. They hate Ireland probably. You know, that's the most un-Irish thing. What's the most hating Guinness is un-Irish, and telling a man not to cut turf, that's bad.
And liquid fuels to heat their homes in rural Ireland does not work. That's for cloud cuckoo land. It's not for the west of Ireland. These roads that you've driven on, we cleared them ourselves with our own chainsaws, with our own diesel, with our own labour, with our own JCB. And the farmers all around here came out with their tractors and were clearing as fast as they could, because that's what people we do. We come together and we help each other. Some people have generators, some people have diesel supply for their generators, and they're offering folks that don't have that to be able to come and plug in, boil water, etc. But that's what we're dealing with. And then, of course, there's where the water is working, there's boil water notices, because not everything is working with those water supply systems. I run an international business in space and telecommunications. I'm here taking care of things locally, my own place, and...
Sounds like the Elon Musk of Ireland, guys. This is epic. He's like the Elon Musk of Ireland.
Doing what I can to be useful around. I didn't run for elected office. I didn't run for this Dáil. But if I did, I can guarantee you I'd be sitting in there right now, and I'd be making sure that everyone was on top of this, and that there were crews and international crews in East Galway and all of the areas that are affected, swamping this area to get this thing up and running, to keep people off the grid from now until the 5th of February. Enjoy your holidays, lads.
The timeline.
Oh, and yeah, that's what we forgot to say as well. And the flipping idiots, right, in the Dáil that got elected, they're all on holidays for the last 2 weeks. Like, guys, that's the easiest job in the world, is to be in the Dáil. Like, how do they even know that they're on holidays? Like, they do nothing anyways when they're at work. How do they even know when they're on holidays? It's just like ridiculous. Jesus, every day is a holiday for them. But they're on holidays for the last 2 weeks. There's nothing going on. Everyone's in the shit. You know, we have no power. It's just a complete shit show. One of the most stressful situations, not traumatic, I don't care about not having power, but it's so stressful, guys, when you can't work, when you can't do what you want to do. It's insane. There's no fuel. None of the petrol stations were open. It was just crazy. It was an absolute shit show, but insane. But let's get on to the rest of this video, guys. Let's see what he says.
Seems rather long, the fact that there's going to be hundreds of thousands of people until the end of the week who don't have power, and then even into next week there's going to be people, a smaller proportion of people who don't have power, including yourself. Do you think that it should take that long? Is there what do you think of the timeline effectively that we've been given for when these repairs are going to be completed?
I don't expect competence personally, which is why I have thousands of litres of diesel, a generator, and everything else. I don't expect competence. Other people do expect competence. I would suggest that the lesson that we draw from this is to understand that what we have is mediocrity, not preparedness for circumstances
Facts.
and occasions like this.
That's so true, guys. Like we're so fragile in Ireland. You know, any sort of electricity outage, any sort of road closing, we're screwed. Like there's nothing. We're not like the US, even like Britain, like Canada. You know, shoveling the snow with the snow plows. We're not really like that. We're very fragile in this country towards, you know, environmental stuff. You know, whatever once-off occasions. It's not like Japan, like we're getting a tsunami anytime soon, right? But still, with the shit, with the power line down and all that stuff, it's not great. It's not good at all.
Do not depend or think that government can fix everything for you. They can't
Nobody's coming to save you. Remember that famous phrase?
even keep your water running. They can't keep the power on. If they can't keep the lights on, they're not going to be able to do anything else very competently.
True.
That would be my suggestion. Prepare and take a lesson from this. Be ready to take care of yourselves and take care of your neighbours and take care of your local communities, because these lads are going to be on holiday when you need them.
Last question. What would you say?
It's like getting invaded. It's like when you see like soldiers at war getting invaded and there's no backup. It's like, or like you ring the flipping guards or the police and nobody answers. Like, that's crazy stuff.
To a government minister, if they were standing here and they said something like, well, look, of course it's a terrible situation and of course we're doing everything we can to improve the situation, but we can't control the weather, you know, this is a once in a generation.
Well, I'll just stop you right there, Ben. I heard you said we can't control the weather. Well, let's talk about geoengineering for a second. You know, there's been reports that, you know, we had the US storm chasers fly in to cover the storm. This storm happened overnight. Like, within 2 days, it was just arrived at the shores of Galway. Like, it was just happened very suddenly. We know that there's geoengineering. You can have, you know, air conditioning. You can create clouds. It was on mainstream news. Top Gear is on all these shows. Can you make a storm more intense is the question. I would absolutely 100% say yes. They've been doing it for 50 years. They make it rain every Sunday in the Middle East because it's very hot. They want things to grow. They absolutely have geoengineering. Now, was it used on this? We'll never know. But my bets were that it was, because it sounded like the roof was going to come off. This was a very odd storm to me. I've lived in Ireland my whole life, you know, 25 years. I've never felt anything like this in my life. It's absolutely insane.
A calamity that these things do happen from time to time, and you know, it was an out of control storm, and so all we can do is our best to clean up the damage after the fact. What would you say to that argument from a government representative?
I would say that's a very interesting argument, Minister. Now, what you need to do is come with me down that road about half a mile, and we'll go to a new built house that has a heat pump, so-called heat pump, and is built to the previous government's regulations, a government that you were probably in, and you can stay there now until the 5th of February and not have a shower and have to boil or draw your water from a well and not have any electrical power at all.
I like this guy.
And while you're there, we can talk about how downstream the consequences of policy decisions that you make, so that there's no open fire in that house, because your regulations incentivize that house to be built without an open fire. So they can't take the timber that's down here now, or the turf from their own bog, and burn it in their open fire, because your regulations said they can't have one. And we can have lots of discussions like that until you understand that when you play student politics and you introduce policy like you're a 13-year-old moron, the downstream consequences of that are people are cold and without hot water and without power.
Yeah.
And while I'm on the subject, Subc Cables, mark my word, in fact, store this video, because at some point, some malicious actor is going to cut the very few subsea cables that connect Ireland, and we will have no internet and nothing will work. And they're not preparing for that either.
Oh, damn, that's crazy. This guy's like the flipping Elon Musk. I'd hire this guy, man. This guy should be in the flipping doll. He was saying that we have subsea, because we all know this, like, remember the Nord Stream pipeline that got blew up by Russia and America? They don't really know who blew it up, but it's like an active war. We have these underground cables that connect basically the flipping electricity, the internet. What if Russia were to just cut those off tomorrow? What if, you know, some enemy of the state were to do that? Which could easily be done. I know in Ireland, we're like, you know, we're neutral, which is never in this life are you neutral, okay? If someone's attacking you with a knife, going to kill you, you can't say, I'm neutral, and then the guy stops attacking you. That's not how life and violence works on people. But yeah, it's true, guys. We're not prepared for any attack. I saw recently that there could be an attack on flipping St. Patrick's Day. You know, they'll scaremonger about the weather, about things we can't control. Well, you know, I think they can control the weather, but about the individual person. Like, I can't control the weather. I'm not flipping the US military, right? I'm not the people that are creating weather and shit like that. but they'll not scaremonger you about, you know, potential attacks from ISIS in St. Stephen's Green. You know what I mean? Like, it's just insane, guys. They have it complete backwards. And now, just to finish off, a lot of people were texting me, Chris, you know, maybe you were wrong about the scaremongering. No, guys, I was absolutely right. I'll tell you why. The storm wasn't fatal if you didn't go outside your house, like I specifically said. The only time you're going to die is if you drive out your house like an idiot and a tree falls on top of you. What happened? A foreign Polish young guy, 20-year-old, RIP, it's really sad to see. He drove outside his house after work, after his boss told him to go home. A tree fell on him and killed him instantly. Super sad. I don't want to speak ill of the dead, but it is a stupid thing to do, guys. 5 a.m. was the peak of the storm. 5 to 7 a.m. was the peak of the storm. How do I know? I was literally in the house, flipping, felt like the roof was going to blow off in an insane storm, but it wasn't fatal unless you left your house. Like I said, guys, don't leave your house, you'll never die. One guy left the house, he went off to work. Now, I don't know, was it his fault, his stupidity? I don't want to speak ill of the dead, like I said, but whoever his manager told him to leave and go home should be liable, okay, and should be sued for that. Because if I was the guy sitting there, I would have took one look outside. He said, "Matt, hey Chris, go home." I would have taken one look outside. I would have seen the trees falling over and said, "Man, feck that, I'm staying here till flipping next morning. I didn't give a shit. Let me work an extra shift." "No, Chris, you have to go home." I said, "I'm not leaving." Because your life is worth more than a little bit of money, guys. And your stupid boss that you guys listen to, best believe that nobody wants self-preservation more than yourself. So don't listen to stupid people. I love you guys all. Stay free. If you guys want to help me, link is in the description for my Patreon. About 200 blocked videos, crazy videos over on Patreon. Or become a member of my YouTube channel. Check out my merch. I love you guys all, and I'll see you in the next one, man. Peace.